is what's best for business.
I gotta go take a big hairy dump.
Oh my God.
Tonight's main event, a tag team match.
Yes.
Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, and we're here. My name is Turbo. We're with Matt Marsander. How are you feeling there today, Matt?
Yeah, not too bad today, Turbo. Yourself?
Yeah, well, my wife cooked me in like the most enormous burger I've ever had, and I felt compelled as a man to eat all the entire burger. So,
as it should be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to eat it if she puts it in front of me. But yeah, I think she was testing me, and I'm paying the price now.
Test your might. No.
Yes, I imagine I will unleash a massive food baby upon the world in 24 hours anyway. But I don't really want to start our talk up anyway. Regarding that.
The top of turds. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I guess people wouldn't have expected to hear that when I came onto this anyway. So, alright. So, if you haven't heard us say before, we basically go through Raw, this week's Raw. We go through some of the wrestling news, and we also take on a topic at the end of reviewing the entirety of Raw. And so I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast there today. But it was not as eventful this week as last week. I'd say this Raw was definitely one of those filler Raws that you get in between.
That halfway point. It's like you're coming out of the previous event, but it's not close enough to build up to the next one.
Yeah. They can't really do a huge build-off anyway, but I still think that this wasn't particularly great. I don't think last Raw was particularly great, which is strange for the fact that I am actually got some sort of interest in TLC. Is they've got some interesting matches on the card, but it just seems that the upgrade.
I think the oversaturation of 3-on-1 handicaps isn't ideal.
Well, it matters how they book those matches anyway. We'll go into those anyway. So the show started off with CM Punk coming out on an opening promo, and basically he spoke about him being attacked by the Shield and going off on the Authority, and then he was interrupted by both Kane and Stephanie McMahon. There was a few things about this promo. I do like CM Punk on this night. I thought was very good. This wasn't his best promo in the night, in my opinion, but it still was decent enough. The crowd were somewhat responsive. He did a particular thing when Kane came out. He said, "When did you turn to the big red ass kisser?" And that got a huge pop from the crowd. So they weren't a completely dead crowd. They also weren't fantastic. They were a usual Raw crowd anyway. What was your feeling upon this promo? Did you like it?
I liked it. It was one of those sort of get the point across sort of promos from Punk.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a very good promo worker, and he's got two different ways of doing it. He's got that pipe bomb, or he's got sort of the fuse sort of thing. And this was very much one of those fuse sort of promos. But it was good, and it was directed. It got the point across. He managed to get a cheer out of the crowd, mostly at the expense of Kane. But everyone thinks he's a sold-out bitch. Yeah,
I thought. I mean, this is one of the things actually I want to bring up to you. That we haven't seen Kane in the ring for a very long time, and the fact that he's been suited and booted. Is this a way for Kane to actually get a bit of time away from the ring? I mean, his body must be quite beaten up, really, over the amount of times. I mean, he's had probably one of the most consistent runs in WWE of any wrestler that I've known.
Well, he's been the one to sort of proudly say that, he's been around for 15 years and to this day he still hasn't had a major injury.
Yeah, I mean, if he has, he's definitely hit it very well, because he's just been there week in, week out. One of their most consistent performers, if anything. So I don't have a problem with him not wrestling, not because I don't like him wrestling. I do. I think he's probably one of the best big men that WWE have ever had. But his body must be a bit battered up over this amount of time, and I mean, his moveset doesn't really require him to take that much punishment, but it doesn't matter. You're still wrestling day in, day out, and I hear he does a lot of live events as well. So him taking a bit of time out to rest his body until maybe he goes into a feud, maybe he does wrestle Punk at the behest of the Authority or anything along those lines. But yeah, I don't have a problem with him taking a break. And in fact, it's weird because we've never seen Kane in this role, but he does play it kind of well.
He has hair. Kane actually has head hair.
That's actually one thing.
Not sort of like fabric tied onto a mask.
Or completely bald. I don't think completely bald suits him. After all that time of him being completely bald.
I don't know, when he was psycho bald, it was fine.
Psycho bald. That's one way to put it, I guess.
The first time he took the mask off, and it's just like, He's a bit scary looking.
Give you the evil eye sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this was okay. It kind of sold the fact that they're going to have a 3-on-1 match, and obviously the Shield came down. Stephanie playing the false heel role, which the Authority just seems to do, where they're like, "Oh, we're doing things best for business, but we do have our own agenda. We just won't admit it," sort of thing. You know, that's what they do. I don't like those roles in wrestling, though. I think that, I mean this in the nicest possible way, but I think sometimes the crowd doesn't know really what to cheer and what to boo when it's like that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, but they're doing the nice thing, and they're not doing it for themselves. Well, if you think that, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why the Vince McMahon Authority role was so good is because he was so obviously heel. He was so hateable, and everyone hated him after the Montreal Screwjob.
Well, to be perfectly honest, a lot of the time of Vince being heel is like, why can I do this? Because I'm the boss, goddammit.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, you can't put it plainer than that.
Yeah. They obviously don't want to go for the same thing, and I'm not asking for Triple H to start becoming Vince McMahon 2.0, but I'm just saying that maybe if they think they're really not getting a response from the crowd when they're doing these things, it's probably because they're doing it in this sort of way. But I guess they're trying to go for something different. I'm not that bothered about it, but you can kind of tell sometimes the crowd doesn't know what to do with them, whether they want to cheer them or if they want to boo them. I just don't know what they're doing. But yeah, a good opening promo. I as I said last week, I'm a big fan of having a match to start up the show. You don't have to have it always, but I'd like it to be the ratio the other way around, because they definitely like promos starting up Raw. I think the wrong sort of promos just don't really build up that well, you know. It kind of sucks the life out of the audience.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll follow on from there. I don't think that was CM Punk's best promo of the night. He had a promo later on which we'll go into, which I thought was absolutely exceptional. But anyway, we had a poll. This is actually a thing that I want to talk to you about. We had a poll this week. I know obviously you must have seen this, Matt. It was what will the champion be called after TLC? And they had all these sort of like the unified champion, the unified WWE champion, the unified heavyweight champion.
No, it was unified world champion.
A world champion, you know, along those lines. And basically, the reason why I wanted to bring up this particular poll, normally I don't unless it's really ludicrous, is because
this poll ever.
Yeah, this wasn't so much along these lines. I think that the poll itself and the fact that Triple H he actually did a sit-down interview with Michael Cole, that basically he said that there's no need for a heavyweight championship anymore because there is no separate brands. So we basically will be waving goodbye to the heavyweight championship. I know that we said last week that, you know, we didn't see them unifying the titles or getting rid of the belt, but it seems that that's the path that they want to go down.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's sort of that tied to sort of like WCW that they just want to be rid of.
Yeah, they've never been fans of the big gold belt. That's what they used to call it. And they actually shortened it down. I don't know if you realise, if you go back and look at some WCW footage, the belt looks considerably bigger then than it does now. They actually shortened it. Oh yeah,
definitely.
But yeah, I mean, they've never been fans of the heavyweight championship. They've treated it really poorly the last couple of years. So you know, I'm not that shocked about it going. I don't feel bad about it leaving. I think, in all fairness, I think that it was just too cluttered. It was just an excuse to have a title around someone. Maybe this will give an opening to kind of give a shot back to the IC title. All those people that were fighting for the heavyweight title, they can go and fight for the IC title. Give that thing a little bit of a push, because the IC title has a lot of history behind it, especially when it comes down to...
Well, the one thing is just like, well, there's one less title to chase for. I still really want gold. I can either chase for the new unified... Was it the unified championship, isn't it?
I imagine that they will be calling it that, yeah. I mean, I don't see them getting rid of the WWE belt. I think they're just going to get rid of the heavyweight. They're not going to change the belt so quickly after changing...
I really want them to change the belt. I like the new belt, but I think if they're going to be doing something as big as a unified title...
You like it like last time they came out with that really nice undisputed belt, didn't they?
Yeah,
which was very nice. I remember that.
Jericho again something else Chris Jericho invented. Chris Jericho invented undisputed champions.
Yeah, that's actually one thing that we can go into a little bit now. That they kind of are sort of trying to build this as like once in a lifetime, and then they kind of had to backtrack because they kind of knew people would know that wasn't right.
11 years in the making. It's like, wasn't it 11 years ago that there was the undisputed belt?
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's kind of funny about this whole thing is that they kind of backtrack, and then they're like, it's the first time that the belts will be hung from ready to be grabbed from a ladder. There's so many different ways that this can end. It could be a really messy finish where both of them grab the titles.
myself, I know Triple H turned around and said there will definitely be a guy who will walk out champion of champions.
Yeah.
That's fine. And that kind of clears the air for me a bit, because I was sort of like, but what if Orton's on top of if they're both hanging from the top, and Orton's on top of a ladder, and he pulls off the WWE belt, and Cena takes him down.
Yeah.
Or the other way around.
They both grab one belt.
Cena up there grabs the WWE, and then Orton gets up and grabs the heavyweight. So at the end of the match, if they just the title just swapped.
Yeah. No,
that's the one you grab. That's your belt.
I would see them doing that if they already haven't been in a little bit of trouble with the fact that they've done some of these messy finishes that they had to. I mean, if you remember that some of the finishes they had in the pay-per-views where they kind of messed up the Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan feud. That Vacant became the champion for 2 whole months, and I think this was. I don't think they're going to do that sort of finish. I think if they were, they're really stupid. I think they need a definitive finish to this match. I think this is goodbye. I think we're going to see the end of the heavyweight title. I don't think that they want it around anymore. And I think it's for good reason. I mean, if they are going to keep the heavyweight title, they've effectively buried the heavyweight title in this feud. Triple H said that there was no need for a heavyweight championship anymore. So if they keep it now, what's the point, sort of thing? They've already agreed that there's no point for it or anything along those lines. But I thought this is sort of like the final nail in the coffin. I think that this is the last month of the heavyweight title being around, and good riddance. I don't think it's really brought much for the last couple of years, really, since Edge retired and Del Rio kind of took it. And
it's kind of been since the collapse of the unification. The unification, the collapse of the brands.
Yeah, you're exactly right, because there used to be quite a lot of heated. I mean, if you're on one show, you'd go for one belt, one show you go for the other, so you'd have big guys going for both belts, and
that way, when it actually was a champion versus champion match, it was a proper good match, because it was the very best of Raw versus the very best of SmackDown.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Rather than, it's someone who's not quite as good as him, but he still has a belt, but that belt's not as good as that belt.
That's essentially what the heavyweight title is, isn't it, really?
It's like, watch first place, fight third place.
Yeah, sort of thing, yeah.
Because the number one contender for the WWE title is better than the heavyweight champion.
Yeah. So I mean that's our thoughts on that anyway in regards to the heavyweight title. I'd be very shocked if it's going to last the end of this month. But anyway, so one of the first match that we had after all this sort of poll and promo business is Ziggler versus Sandow. Just a normal match this time. This was the rubber match, the third one.
Number one contender for the IC title.
Yeah, it was. And we had Big E Langston at ringside doing commentary as well. I thought this was a very good match. I'm one of these people that actually I kind of enjoy these matches more than hardcore matches, because I find hardcore matches sometimes just get very gimmicky. I do like hardcore matches, don't get me wrong, but if you've got two very good wrestlers...
No, you like hardcore matches.
Yeah.
You don't like PG hardcore. Yeah. I was like, oh, he has a stick. Oh no, I want that stick wrapped in barbed wire and set on fire. That's the stuff I like.
Yeah, that's it. You've been watching way too many of those old ECW compilations. But yeah, I'd say that you're right, because I would prefer a really good singles wrestling match over a PG hardcore match. That's just my opinion. I thought this was a very good match. If this is going to be the final sort of set of this match, then I'm fine with that. I don't know where Ziggler's going to go from here, but Sandow gets the win anyway. He's going to face Big E Langston at TLC for the IC title. I think that I didn't particularly like Big E Langston on commentary. I thought he was very, very cookie cutter.
That's the point. From me watching NXT, Big E Langston can cut a promo, but I don't see him capable as a commentary.
I think either he's good if you release sort of his mic ability. Maybe he's got very good mic ability, but he's running out these lines. But to me, with the promo that he did when he won the title, and when he defended the title, sorry, and the promo when he had during this, I thought it was almost like
where he name dropped Boston about 5 times.
Yeah,
it's good.
I don't know. It's just I don't like what he's doing on the mic at the moment. And from what you've told me, and from what I've seen every now and then, he is better than what that is. But maybe he's one of these guys. I mean, he's still quite new to the company, and he's just trying to do whatever they're trying to tell him to do. Maybe he hasn't found what CM Punk has, where he's not trying to appease the company. He's trying to do good quality stuff. Maybe Biggie Langston is still trying to find his foothold in WWE at the moment. So he's going to do whatever they tell him to whatever they're going to say. He's going to try and do it the way that he thinks they want it to be delivered.
Yeah.
But I wasn't a big fan of him being on the panel. And all in all, it was a good match. But I mean, that's really the only sort of. I mean, I can understand why they had Sando win it and go against Biggie Langston, because there's a curse really for face-on-face matches. Sometimes they go well, sometimes they just die because the fans just don't know who to
It's
get
just
behind.
like, go Ziggler, go Biggie, I don't know anymore.
And I think the problem with that then is that you're not going to get like two sects of the crowd going, let's go Ziggler, let's go Langston. You're not going to have that. They're not big enough stars for that, in my opinion. So you're just going to get a very dead crowd, not wanting to chant anything, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they went for Sandow. Sandow's a very easy guy for Biggie Langston to be a face against. So fair enough.
Yeah.
We're moving forward now onto Bellas and Natalia against AJ Lee, Tamina, and apart from AJ's epic skipping, which never ceased to end.
Oh yeah, it's true.
The fact that she just did not care that she lost the match, which I thought was quite funny.
It's just like, no, collect belt, carry on skipping.
Yeah, it was almost like she's like living vicariously, like the fans of women's wrestling kind of living vicariously from her, because we know that match doesn't matter, so why should she give a shit?
Yeah.
So like sort of those sort of things. But it was a better match. They kind of got rid of all the chaff from the other match that they had. There was no Ixana.
There was one thing about that match though that I just really didn't like, and it seemed to be a really good idea, and that was like that sort of sneaky sort of float over pin that Summer Rae tried to do.
Yeah.
And it just turned into an absolute hash.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you and me. I don't want to go into this too much now because we will go into huge detail with the Divas later. But I did watch. You sent me a link of a match between Trish Stratus and Lita, and it was a women's championship match, and that was one.
Trish versus face Lita in Lita's hometown.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just best thing.
It was the
women's wrestling I've seen in like 2 years.
The striking, the landing and the moves, just the general physicality.
A powerbomb, a superplex.
I mean, you don't even have to do moves of that caliber to have a good match. But the fact is that when these girls land or they do their moves, it's so unrefined, it's so flopsy, and it so doesn't make any sort of impact. So it comes off looking really amateur. And I think this match had a lot of that as well. It was a very quick match. I think they do these group matches to hide the quality level of a lot of these. I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I do think the Bellas, wrestling-wise, are better than I'd say about 50% of the roster. Than your Ixanas. They do have something else to them, but still not enough for me to really get excited about a feud. And I know that Natalia will be going against AJ Lee at TLC, even if there's a good chance they might end up moving the match, which they normally do. But I hope they at least give them a little bit of time, because Natalia and AJ Lee could probably have a really good match if they get the storytelling right. They're two girls. AJ Lee kind of bumps a bit weird, but she does that Dolph Ziggler thing where she flops around. Natalia's quite good with her moves and everything. So there could be a match to be done there, but this one, not to my taste. And at least it was better than last week. That's the only sort of plus I can give to it, really.
That's it.
So Matt, next up is a bit that gave me a smile for more than one reason. We've now got Bad News Barrett.
I've literally just had a look on my notes. It was a Bad News Barrett. What the fuck?
I like the fact that Barrett's back on TV. He's been gone ever since he got his beard shaved by Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
I like this role for him. I do, because the reason being is because he's good on the mic. I like the fact they haven't turned him face, because I think he's good as a heel.
I guess it's also the fact he's a Brit in America.
Yeah, there's so much he can work with there, and I like even the little stamp after he said his stuff. I don't know what other people feel about it, but I actually quite enjoyed these segments. If they carry on with these on Raw every now and then, that he has a match where he has to give someone bad news or comes up with these promos, I actually really enjoy these little bits. So when it came up, I was like, what's he going to say now? And I rather enjoyed it. What did you think of anyway, Bad News Barrett? Do you like it, or do you think it's a step back?
I like Bad News Barrett. I think This is just really this is terrible. Do you remember you and me years ago? We created our own little fat makeup universe.
Yeah, as any fan of wrestling does.
Who did we have? Bad News Higgins or something
Bad
like
News
that?
Biggins.
Bad News Biggins, and it's just like no. The moment I saw Bad News Barrett, I was just like, they're ripping us off.
Do you know, actually, it's actually kind of... I mean, I ripped Stampede Wrestling off because there was a guy in there called Bad News Allen, and he wrestled Bret Hart a few times. And that's where I got the idea for that character. So, really, I can't take any credit for that. So, But yeah, no, I like this character anyway, Bad News Barrett, and I'd like to see him back in the ring soon, but I can understand... I'm not going to be like, he needs to get in the room.
I want to see him back in the ring, but I don't want to see him with the bull hammer elbow.
No, I didn't like that finisher. It was a bit odd. I really like. He needs to have the same physicality of that as Cesaro does doing his uppercut, and he just doesn't have the same thing.
No.
So I'm with you with that. I think he should go back to Wasteland. I know people are like, oh, it's just a fireman's carry, but at least it looked a little bit intense. I don't know, but that's just my opinion.
It looked better than an elbow.
Yeah. With a red pad on.
Well, it's a fireman's. It's like a fireman slam.
It's like it has a red pad on. Apparently, red is more dangerous. It gives more damage.
Red makes things go faster.
Yeah. So So yeah. Anyway, good promo from him. He had multiple good promos. Anyway.
Good promo, but it just didn't make. It was really well delivered. I won't knock it for the quality of the promo, but it was still just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I know that he's been doing that on the JBL and Cole show, but yeah, that was his debut of it on Raw anyway.
But the thing is, like, oh, they did it on the JBL and Cole show. Well, I don't watch the JBL and Cole show, so that reference is completely gone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch it either. I think about 50,000 people do, because he gets about 50,000, or maybe that's just JBL hitting the fucking refresh button 50,000 times, or Cole doing that or something.
Cole, get on it!
That's what they're doing, playing with their phones each week. They're just tapping the refresh button to give themselves more hits.
I'm sending a tweet! JBL and Cole show.
Okay. We'll move on anyway. The next promo, I kind of don't want to spend too much time on, because it wasn't good. It didn't really serve me.
Randy Orton whining to Maddox.
Yeah, I didn't think...
Well, it wasn't whining. He was sort of doing a sort of stronger promo, but I'm really sick of whingy Orton.
Yeah. And to be fair, when he delivered the same sort of thing in the ring last week, I liked that. But with this week, it kind of reminded me what you said about Orton last week, that it could just easily regress back to boring Orton, which is what he wasn't. This was boring. I didn't like it. Brad Maddox didn't even look really that scared of him. He was like, okay, I'll go do it then, fair enough, sort of thing. It was just like, okay, like, Orton's having a hissy fit again. He's the diva, so...
The new Divas champion, Randy Orton.
Yeah, so basically two sides of the coin. We got bad Orton there as well. So anyway, Daniel Bryan against Eric Rowan. I've got a few things to say about this. I thought the match itself was actually really good, but I don't like the fact that he just magically appeared unscathed after being abducted. I know they made sort of references to,
but there wasn't really much of a play on it, was there? It was just like, meh, he had a fight.
It's like, oh yeah, he'll emerge as a monster. It looked kind of like the same Daniel Bryan we've been seeing all along. There was a few things they could go with this.
Do you know what it's like? Oh, like with the Bray Wyatt promo at the end, it's like, oh, we took a man, and like within resides a monster, and it's like, wasn't like the whole problem with originally why they didn't think Daniel Bryan could do the job was because they didn't think he had the ferocity.
Yeah.
So this is essentially, yet again, Daniel Bryan, we don't think you're aggressive enough.
Well, they kind of changed that at the end. I mean, he did a promo at the end where basically he said... First of all, just to go into the quality of the match, I thought this match was very, very good. I like this match because it was two different styles.
Did you notice the little boy who managed to lose his phone?
No, I didn't know that. What happened?
It was like, I think it was like Eric Rowan like threw Daniel Bryan against the barricade or something, and then suddenly all I noticed was this phone. He just go freedom and bounce away down the.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's quite funny. I didn't even notice that actually.
Which is really odd because I was really enjoying the match, but I managed to notice this odd little thing.
You've got more of an eye for those little things. That's why we have you on the show, because you catch the things that the usual wrestling fan wouldn't, say. Oh. Poor guy. Did he get his? I imagine he did get his phone back.
Nah, it wasn't there when they went that side of the ring again.
Oh dear.
I liked the pin. Actually,
yeah, I like this match.
Some sneaky pin.
The reason I like these matches because you've got a guy, Eric Rowan, who's obviously very good at being the big guy in the ring, and it was a very good clash of styles. I think this is
Exactly. Well, he's a good 6 foot plus, 228, sort of 250 guy.
and he looks monstrous in the ring, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Does it really well, and he has the, he does it. He's a really good big guy.
yeah.
Then you got Daniel Bryan, who's the little guy who has sort of like the little strikes and like the little bursts of speed sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you were saying, it's a good like mix up of styles.
I mean, we can say it could mix up of styles, and it could be like the Great Khali against Daniel Bryan, but Great Khali doesn't do a big man style. He just does a few hits. Eric Rowan did do a very sort of powerhouse sort of move set. I just like this match. I thought it was
I heard the best description of the Great Khali. He looks like he's overgrown his own body.
Yeah.
Like, he moves really awkwardly.
He has like an extra like inch here and there all across his body. That kind of makes things don't really work as they should.
It's like it just weighs a little too much on the end.
I would pay great amount of money to get him on a skating rink and just watch that guy try.
It was a really curly giggle at me. What, sort of like the Great Khali on a pair of roller skates.
Yeah.
Just like, that would be my sort of
not going small, but like, going really fast. Just going full pelt.
So do you remember when we used when the Top Enough series came around? There was a Big Andy on skates. Just imagine that sort of thing.
Yeah. That it's just a recipe for disaster, but a beautiful disaster, shall we say? Cause, yeah. Right, there was a promo before we get so sidetracked.
One thing before, it was just as Daniel Bryan was making his entrance, because Daniel Bryan is going to be on the new Steve Austin podcast.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised.
I think this is actually the first time that WWE have even referenced the fact that Steve Austin has a podcast.
It is the first time, and I'm very shocked that they did this, because in a lot of his stuff, he actually kind of like, he doesn't bury WWE, but he says a lot of the stuff that he doesn't like about it, and he talks to a lot of TNA personalities on there. I thought it was very odd that they advertised that.
The other day I was listening to Austin Samoa Joe.
Yeah, that's a great podcast, actually.
Oh,
if you haven't heard Steve Austin's podcast, it's completely free, and he's on like episode 60 now, so you've got a good lot of podcasts to go on. Just type in Steve Austin Show to Google, and
that's the one thing I like. Although I don't know if it's the same with you. Are you able to download at the moment? Because I can only listen.
Well, I only did. Oh no, I did download it. I haven't tried mine. I normally watch it on the laptop recently. I used to have it on my phone and download it on there, but I know that the show's going through a change anyway, just like ours really. But a good podcast anyway. To go through. I was just very shocked that they actually advertised it personally.
But yeah, I know what you mean, because it's a lot of the way the young ones do it these days, and like talking to a lot of TNA personalities as well. Yeah, nice.
Like he by no means buries WWE, but he's not always on their side. So
that's it.
But
then Steve Austin's always been the one to call a spade a spade.
Exactly. Yeah, you get exactly what you pay. Well, that you don't pay for because it's free. Yeah. Anyway, right, getting back to business now before we go so way off kilter and we start like a 5-hour podcast. We got the promo at the end of this. I'm getting so lost now.
Really awkward moment with Kane and Bryan.
Well, wasn't Bray Wyatt and oh no, this is the
about the Bray Wyatt promo.
Yeah, because he made a lot of references to the fact that he should join Bray Wyatt in bringing down the Machine. Now, the reason why I brought this up is that maybe I'm just looking into it too much or anything along the lines, but if anyone was going to call anything the Machine in WWE, it would be the Authority, the one group that has pissed all over Daniel Bryan since they've come into fruition.
Yeah.
So could we see maybe Bryan joining the Wyatts to bring down the Authority? It could be possible. I think it's actually very possible. I could see maybe Bryan maybe getting beaten by the Wyatts at TLC, or maybe getting a victory or something along those lines. But then maybe coming out with the Wyatts to attack the Authority at the end. Not particularly being a face group. I don't think they could ever have like a face.
Yeah, you couldn't have the Wyatts as face. They're just weird.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That kind of goes to them, that you don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to attack the good guys? And if they're going to go attacking the Machine is the Authority. They're the ones that are in charge.
Yeah.
And that seems to go to thing. I think that's a possibility. I think if you should look out for that. And I think that the fact that they made a lot of JBL was referencing it all the way through that match, Brian should join them. If I had the chance, I'd join them, and all this lot. They make a lot of
To
references.
be perfectly honest, a
joining
lot of the time the JBL was saying Brian should join him was like, well, he's got a beard, he's already there.
It was just a stupid sort of reason why. And then last week we were talking about the fact they're attacking people with beards, and I was scared because I got a beard.
That's it. You should join them.
Yeah.
Like, well, I've got the goatee thing going on. Maybe I should join them.
Anyone with any degree of facial hair. November becomes their strongest month because everyone's just got facial hair. So.
One of us.
Yeah. So.
One thing. Could you see Bray Wyatt becoming one of the strongest promo guys?
Oh, I think he is already.
Mm.
I do. Whenever he's on the screen, I mean, he's a strong promo guy for a different reason. But I think that I think honestly the way that he delivers his promos with such confidence of the character, I think he's honestly one of the best guys that they've got at the moment.
Yeah, for promos.
Yeah,
I mean, it's almost just like the fact. It's not even the fact that it's like the confidence of the character. It's almost the fact that he genuinely is a bit weird like that.
Yeah, I mean, when he debuted as Husky Harris, you didn't really get to see that part of him because he was trying to be a character that maybe didn't come that naturally to him. But this just came.
I kind of feel bad. He was kind of like he was almost like a baby-faced tough guy. It's just like, oh, I'm meant to be the intimidating muscle, but you look so cute.
Yeah,
It's just like, sorry, Husky.
And then when he joined the New Nexus, they didn't exactly treat New Nexus very well, did they? So he didn't exactly, he wasn't exactly given.
They lashed the shit out of him in the backstage.
Yeah, and one of the things
take it off and just beat the hell out of him.
With that promo where he just whipped the crap out of all of them.
That's it.
And wasn't that the one where the call was born because how was it? Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater wouldn't do that, so they went to SmackDown and joined the core instead. I think that's how that kind of went. But I like the fact that he came back as this character one because obviously it's really good character, the one they haven't had for a while. But I think the way that he's changed his character, his wrestling style, and his look. I think if you showed a picture of Husky Harris and so if you say to someone that remembered Husky Harris and said, "Oh, Bray Wyatt is Husky Harris," I think people would be generally a little bit shocked. I know he kind of looks the same, but he just looks so different with all the different stuff. Anyway, anyway, next we actually had something that was very shocking, Matt. We had a SmackDown look back segment. Yeah,
I can't remember what it was,
but I'm so used to seeing the Raw rebound. Let's see what happened on Raw. I was like, we saw.
What you mean? Welcome to 3 hour SmackDown, an hour and a half of it Raw.
We had 2 of them on this show, Matt. 2 of them.
Did we?
So we had 2 of them. Yeah, we had the first, which showing that Brodus Clay was apparently, in his words, a main event player.
I didn't even notice that. Literally on the notes. Ha 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 ha. Brodus Clay called himself a main event player. Ha 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 ha.
I don't know what guy.
We know what world.
There was a bit of pot smoked on this show. I'm almost sure of it because, on that SmackDown show anyway. Because, he's moaning to Xavier Woods saying that that apparently Brodus Clay is a main event player, because he's been in a lot of WrestleMania main events, multi-time WWE champion. I don't think he's ever main evented a show seriously, has he? Really?
No. I think probably he was on the main event, but that was because he wasn't he like Del Rio's muscle.
He's probably been on Saturday main event, but that's not really the same thing, is it? I thought that was really funny. I think all the memes page kind of tore into that for obvious reasons. Cause,
oh yeah,
yeah. I think fair enough if you want to big yourself up, but just not don't do it where you're so easily ridiculed in that fashion. But yeah, that was the first of SmackDown look backs. The second one is. It goes into something that we're talking about later, so I'll leave that in a second. So, anyways, we had that match that kind of went after that SmackDown look back. We had Tons of Funk against Woods and R-Truth. It wasn't really the best match.
I have not missed Tons of Funk.
No,
I'm sorry to say this, I really have not.
Yeah, I mean,
even their dancing. I forgot about the fact that they do Gundam style and they pretend to dig a ditch.
Yeah, and they do the fucking the pterodactyl the Velociraptor arms or whatever, and it's gotten old now. I think the whole. I
want them to go. They can take the Funkadactyls with them. I don't want to see it anymore.
You've been the biggest abdicator for getting rid of the Funkadactyls for a very long time. So
One of them can stay.
the other one,
Naomi can stay. She actually has some potential.
So anyway, I think that this whole rivalry is just trying to get Woods on the Xavier Woods on the main stage, and he came in and he was like rapping with R-Truth, which
isn't this what we were saying though last week? It's just like Xavier Woods shouldn't be like stuck on the same level as like R-Truth, and now it's like we're going on about because like they want to push him. So why put him with R-Truth? And it's like, they want to push him, so why is he wrestling tons of funk?
Yeah, it's a little bit like, if you want to debut someone, you either give them really like squash matches against no one to build up this sort of mean streak or whatever, or they come in hot where they win championships, or they they come in really but as a solo competitor. They seem to be doing this thing with Woods that they kind of think, okay, we think he's going to be mid-table mediocrity, so we'll just stick him straight into a mid-table mediocrity feud, which doesn't do him any favours.
Try him out any higher? No,
not really. It's not exactly a hot debut from Xavier Woods, really. I mean, he's winning matches, but against the likes of people, against people that WWE conditioned to think are losers, or just mid-table all along. Then I don't know. I don't see it. I like him though. I like Xavier Woods. I think there's something there to him, but I think the longer he stays in feuds like this, the longer it's going to be very quick until people are like, okay, this is just another guy that's in the middle of the show that I don't really care about. So I mean, this match had the curse. I mean, I know that Tons of Funk were technically the heel roles, even though they weren't really. And this is what I said before. It was the curse of the face versus face matches. No one cared. The fans
it definitely was a match. It was just like, and
it was a little bit. Yeah.
It's a match, and
I'd like to see Woods in more 1-versus-1 matches. I think that even if they build up a Brodus Clay versus Woods rivalry, and maybe turn Brodus Clay the heel, one of the two, maybe that'd be okay.
I think he is. It's safe to say that he is going heel.
I think if you're going to go like this, I think you have to do it anyway. And he, it's going to be. I say it's going to be interesting what they do with him, but no, not for me. He's a gimmicky character. If they're going to turn him heel, then they're going to have to change his character entirely. He can't be the Funkasaurus and be heel. I just don't see how that works. So
that's true. I didn't think. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was just like, well, if he's going to go heel, please let him go back to some sort of monster.
Yeah, we'll endeavour to see if there's anything interesting comes of this, but WWE have conditioned us to think there probably won't be. So, anyway, this is actually quite interesting. Sin Cara made his return. Apparently, he's been around for a while. He hasn't been doing a lot of matches, but it was against Del Rio.
Not Sin Cara though.
Yeah, well, no, it was the same Sin Cara, wasn't it? He just had a different bit of ink.
No.
Who was it?
No. It's Hunico.
Oh, okay.
The real Sin Cara, apparently the real Sin Cara has been gotten rid of, but because the merch for Sin Cara is going well, apparently, as WWE have put it, the performer failed, not the character.
Mystico, who's the guy who was him beforehand.
Yeah, or Hunico.
Okay, well, fair enough. I mean, this I was actually going to say that this
because
match
I enjoyed it. Because there was, I think it's not a Sin Cara match without botch, but...
Yeah, he did botch in this match anyway. I think putting that mask on...
I think it was only the once.
It was only one, yeah.
For that springboard moonsault to the outside, which, fair enough, well overlooked.
Yeah. I mean...
I was genuinely interested.
Yeah, I mean, overall, if you take that botch away, I mean, I know you can't say, if you take this away from a match, every match would be great, but you take that botch away, it was actually a pretty decent match. It was okay. I actually enjoyed watching this. I just don't... I don't know, is this going to be... I mean, Sin Cara gets the win. He beats Del Rio. I thought it was quite iconic. I thought it was a bit ironic in Del Rio's promo that he wanted to ship Sin Cara back to Mexico, and he was saying that as if it was a bad thing when he's Mexican himself. It was a little bit like, what would be so bad about him being shipped off to Mexico? That's where you live. That's where you come out waving a bloody flag for Mexico. What are you doing? I thought that was a bit odd, but.
I mean, there was one thing I was thinking. It was just like, it's not so much. It's like, could it be a push?
I think it might be. I think it might be a small one.
Because I was thinking, it's like a win over Del Rio means a bit more than a win over Heath Slater.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, I mean the fact is that they genuinely shocked me. I thought this was going to be another Del Rio win. So obviously they've got some sort of plan, or if they don't, they really just don't have any plan for Del Rio. But no, I think this could be. I mean, it's not going to be a huge push anyway. They obviously want to keep him around, obviously merchandising and everything like that, and they wanted to do a Sin
money
Cara.
keeps going.
Yeah, they didn't want to do a Sin Cara Rey Mysterio match, didn't they, at WrestleMania? But he got injured again, Sin Cara, and obviously Mysterio hasn't exactly had the best time with injury recently either. So they wanted to do that because they wanted to do a mask versus mask thing, didn't they? And they wanted to not with mask versus mask. They wanted to set the record for the amount of masks in a crowd at once.
Yeah.
But maybe they do. We'll see how it goes. I just want to give a bit of defense there to Mystico, the guy who played Sin Cara. Was Sin Cara for that period of time. He's not actually a bad wrestler. Just in Mexico, they're a lot less critical of botches and stuff like that. They want to see these huge things at the expense of botches. So he's going to go there and make a load of money. If he's gone from the company, he's going to make a lot of money back in Mexico.
Oh, that's it. It's literally just like, I'm back. It's like, welcome. Yeah. More pesetas.
Yeah. So off from that, we had a John Cena promo where he was trying to fool us to say that there's been a debate for the last couple of years about which title means the most.
There's been no debate.
Yeah, there has been really no debate. I don't know who he was fooling.
It's like
himself? Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm proud to be the World Heavyweight Champion. It's like, you're wearing this, you're holding the second tier belt.
That's why you're fighting for the WWE title, because you're holding the second tier belt. I liked what he said about the stuff. I mean, some of the stuff that he said was actually quite good. The fact that he was saying that back in the old days, if you'd go, to some parts of the country,
he did the like the territories, like the proper north and south sort of thing, which was good. Especially considering you just listed off all these people, and it's just like, they were greats, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And the fact is that back then during those times, I mean, that's completely right. You'd go to one place and the WWE title, I mean, nothing. It'll always be about the AWA title, the NWA title, whatever, period of time we're talking about.
Yeah.
Or the WCW title, whatever. But, but I think that, he's not fooling anyone by saying, oh, we don't know, we're going to see which title means the most. It's all, in WWE's eyes, it's always been the WWE title, and it'll always be that way. So, we had a Shield promo after this one anyway, which I liked, but it was very, very small. It just kind of served its purpose. I want more promos from these guys in these these shaky cam sort of things.
Yeah. You mean like when they first sort of started out?
Yeah.
That was really good stuff.
Even though when Roman Reigns was like, if I see you, I'm going to beat your ass, it sounded like really rapey.
To be fair, it was a little bit rapey.
Yeah, it was. I mean, to be fair, Roman Reigns comes up to me in the Dark Canyon and says, "I'm going to beat your ass," I'm pretty much going to say, "Okay, you're going to rape me then." So
it's going to happen.
I'm not much I can do about it. Yeah.
You're bigger.
Okay. Then we had the Rhodes brothers against Big Show. Not Rhodes against the Rhodes and Big Show against the Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I made a note here. I mean, this was yet another good match. One thing I wanted to say is that the Shield are having loads of matches against Team Hell No back, months ago, and that while those matches were really, really good in their own right, they got very stale very quickly. I've got to say, I'm not bored yet of the Rhodes brothers going against the Shield.
Not even close to bored.
Yeah,
actually, I was easy to say, probably the best match of the night, and Teddy Long must be drowning in jizz right about now, because that is like the very definition. It's just like tag team match, Bush, and that's it. It's like, Teddy, are you okay?
As in the intro to the start of this podcast, he loves his tag team matches. So, I don't know how they're doing it. To be fair, I don't know how this hasn't got stale yet. But I'm loving every match that Rhodes and Shield are having, and even if they were to have 5 matches against each other, like in a night, I'd be pretty happy with that. I'm
even quite happy, like with the Big Show in the matches as well.
I thought he was okay, but he's not the catalyst that makes those matches great.
We've probably heard the best Big Show chop ever.
Yeah.
I think it was safe to say. I thought Dean Ambrose took them the best, and then suddenly there was that one on Roman Reigns. I was like, that was it. That's the chop.
I like the fact that they do those, because that's very like grassroots wrestling, isn't it? That's very local. Any local wrestling show you go to, they're more than likely going to do that spot, where they get a big guy, they get the crowd to shush, you get that nice big slap sound. So I'm glad that they do that from from the point of view of you and me, that we've seen local shows, we've wrestled for local shows. Well, not local. We had to drive quite far for the shows that you did. You'll see that spot in like loads of local matches where they do that, and I mean personally, I like that where they just that sound and everything reverberates to the audience. So,
I mean, especially like the fact that like they can command it from like you're talking like 18,000 plus people.
Yeah, and that sound reverberates.
You can just get a real dead silence, and it's like no.
And it's one of those things that when it happens, you kind of like you wince yourself because that had to hurt, sort of thing. Yeah, I like that. Anyway, like I said, brilliant match. I'm not bored of these guys yet. I want them to go for a little bit longer.
I think it might be because it's Goldust.
I love Goldust since he came back.
He's been gone back on a whole nother level.
Yeah, and I didn't think they were going to push much stock into him, really, but they seem to have, and I'm glad, because I'm glad if these guys come back, and they come back well, and they're putting off good matches, then why not push them again? If they come back and they're good, then there's no reason not to. But yeah,
it's sort of one like final note. I was just like, that was like the true definition of sneaky roll-up pin.
Yeah. But what I love about those matches is that when the chaos hits, you just don't know what's going to happen. They seem to have like ended that like same sort of match like so many different ways. It's awesome. I love the way
that's it. It's just like rather than and then we're going to see a disaster kick and then a spear and then I don't know, maybe like the final cut, and there we go, we're going to pin, but it's always just like, oh no, wait, what the hell?
Yeah,
what's happened?
The last 2 minutes
run, but
the last 2 minutes are just complete madness, and they're brilliant madness. That's what you're thinking. What the hell is going to happen here? You're on the edge of your seat, and you want to know what's going on. So yeah, brilliant. And this is actually a really good patch. Actually, that match, and it was followed up by a really good promo by CM Punk, where he basically went along the lines of saying to Renee Young that he knows he's going to get the absolute shit kicking by the Shield at TLC.
It was like proper, like, I know I'm going down, but how many am I taking with me?
This is a part of CM Punk that I like, that I think that John Cena should have more of. John Cena as a character is not realistic. He's not. CM Punk is. He knows that he's more likely going to get the absolute the pasting kicked out of him at TLC, but he delivers his promo, which is good to his character because he's got this sort of tenacity about him, which he's built up through the.
I was a bit confused. I was like, why is he singing "I Feel Pretty"?
Yeah, that was a little bit odd, but I liked it. I thought it was entertaining and like it really got a point across. And you get this feeling now that it's just one man going to go down in a blaze of glory, sort of thing. It made it very interesting. Let's say he pulls off the victory, that's going to feel like the biggest shock to anyone because he's come off as this guy. He hasn't come off defeatist. He's coming off I'm probably going to lose. It's 3 against 1. 3 brilliant wrestlers against one guy.
That was one thing that in the previous match that they were mentioning a lot. It's just like, oh, this is fine. Cody Rhodes can tag out as often, if he wants, sort of thing. And it's like Punk doesn't have that option, and it's true.
Yeah, but I like
unless Punk's literally just going to sort of like isolate people in like any of the members of the Shield in the opposite corner. It's probably not going to happen because the Shield are a very good 3-man team.
Yeah. Which is probably going to see a very dominated Shield match at the pay-per-view. But I'm interested for this. I thought this promo was very well executed, and it shows that CM Punk can deliver very, very good promos when he's asked to. He's like I said, one of the best promo guys that they've got in the company at the moment. I just really like this for some reason. I don't know if it's the same for everyone else. I just really like the way that this was put over. It's realistic, I think they should go for more things. Like I said, the reason why John Cena's booed is because not a lot of people can buy into him unless you're a kid that doesn't really know the wrestling business, or you're an adult who kind of is so generically into it. You're in and out of the wrestling sort of product. Anyone that's over the age of, I'd say, about 14 and watches wrestling day in day out, you're not going to like John Cena.
Yeah,
because he comes up as really just unrealistic, just very like Superman-ish. We all know the phrase Super Cena. I think he should deliver more stuff like this, where John Cena says, "Well, the odds are stacked to my favour. I'm probably going to lose, but I'll give it all I got." And then maybe he does lose, but he shows that he's a good enough wrestler to handle it.
Though, like Cena does in his promos, say like, oh, it's true, like they're capable and all this lot. But then for some reason he'll just put his spin on it, and then it'll just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to take you down." And it's like,
it's like, oh yeah, like they're really capable, and, you know, they probably will beat me. And they're just like, hold on a second, I'm John fucking Cena.
Yeah.
I don't have to take this.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they'll just cut a promo, just like, but I don't care, and I'll go out fighting her. And it's just like, oh, okay, he's going to win.
Yeah, this is John Cena 101 again, yeah, and everything. But, yeah, that's our thoughts on that promo. Very quick, very good promo. I very much liked it. Yeah. Anyway, next we had Axel and Ryback against Miz and Kofi Kingston. This has to be one of the worst heel turns.
On my notes, oh goody, a match no one cares about.
I'm gonna pose you. I don't want to spend too much time on this match because it wasn't great and there's nothing really going to come of it. But didn't Miz's slap at the end just look like one of the female finishes from one of the SmackDown vs. Raw video games?
It did,
didn't it? Like the slap like, from hell.
Weapon slap 2.
Yeah, it was so like sort of thing, and then he walks off with a scowl on his face. They really messed up this heel turn. I don't care. He could. I mean, if he was going to go heel, he should have proper battered Kofi Kingston instead of just giving him a little tap on the cheek. Yeah.
That was awful.
Do you have
it was just like, oh yeah, no. Yeah. I was like, the crowd didn't care. I didn't care. Yeah.
The four guys that have gone nowhere for a very long time. So yeah, not really much to really care about that. Los Matadores did attempt, but in my opinion, they failed miserably to steal Mick Foley's crown for the best WWE shop promo.
I don't know what that was. Oh my! It was like the whole "you're like a bull in a WWE." Show.
That didn't go down very well, did it? It wasn't executed very well.
No, hell no.
Mick Foley stands head and shoulders above the rest for best. And he only has a few more weeks to defend his crown, so I imagine this is just a Christmas thing that they're doing this. So yeah, if he can, I'm going with Mick Foley to win the WWE Shop Promo Challenge. That's what I'm calling it right now, and I'm going to keep an eye on this. I think you must be you got to be under the same opinion.
Oh yeah, nobody's done better. Yeah. Except for, I said to you the other day, it's like, oh no, and now the Divas have done one. It's like, oh my god, and then we got this, and then we got that. It's like, oh my god, what do you think, Brie? I don't know. What do you think, Natalia? It's just like, oh god.
That's a fantastic reenactment of that promo.
It is, but that's like every man's nightmare. It's like, oh, do you want to come shopping with my friends? And you're like, okay. And it's always like an hour later, it's like, why did I do this? I'm like,
oh dear, just a little inkling into Matt's life there. We're unraveling the mystery there. Right. Anyway, moving on swiftly. We had
Sexual chocolate versus Fandango.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
He essentially is sexual chocolate in this match, wasn't he, really? Like, I don't know. I like serious Mark Henry. I like the Hall of Pain. I think you could do a face Hall of Pain, where maybe he came and said, I'm going to stop dancing and put you in my Hall of Pain. Everyone would have done that, would have been happy with that, but it was a poor match, really. It wasn't that great. But...
I've got to hear, how is this meant to be serious? It's just like Fandango and Mark Henry.
Yeah, I don't know what they got planned. It was probably just a filler match. But I think the best person that ever trolled Summer Rae was 100% Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Where he basically he wrapped his arm around her and she was like, oh yeah, this is my man. Didn't even realise it was Chris Jericho for ages. That's the best one. You're never going to out-troll Chris Jericho, so I appreciate Mark Henry's attempt.
Yet again, Chris Jericho invented picking on Summer Rae.
Yeah, exactly. So Mark Henry's just hanging off his coattails, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it was good. It did make me laugh, just like Mark Henry just going back 10 years to Sexual Chocolate and just sort of like the really awkward gyrate on the ropes.
I reckon, I don't reckon this will happen, but I would laugh my head off if just on a live event that Justin Roberts announces Mark Henry is coming from the mean streets of Bel Air. That'd be brilliant. I don't think that'll go down. I wouldn't want to piss off Mark Henry, but anyway. No. Right, we had... Okay... Right.
SmackDown recap number 2.
Yes, we did. And guess what? Titus O'Neil's got a new gimmick. He's a monster, guys. He's going to wreck through. He's going to go for the WWE title. He's going to take no prisoners, Titus O'Neil. He's absolutely turned. He's going... No. That sounds really cool, though, doesn't it? Titus O'Neil. Seems like this big hulking behemoth. Now, his new gimmick is that he likes to throw up on people.
But you know what the thing is? Michael Cole has to be involved if puke's involved.
Yes. That's just a law, of course.
That's it. He threw up. Was it? Who threw up? Was it Jericho that No, he threw up in Jericho's lap, didn't he?
I think so, yeah, something along those lines. But like anything that's sort of like disgusting to do with a. He did it. On SmackDown, he vomited into JBL's hat, didn't he? And then he vomited on top of Zeb Coulter.
Yeah.
I mean, this match itself was okay. It was decent. I'm actually quite glad that Cesaro's uppercut finished off the match because I think that should be his finisher. I think that's so brutal.
I've got here like similar to the RKO.
Yeah, well,
it's still out.
Yeah, it's one of those out of nowhere moves,
out
isn't
of nowhere sort of thing. But the one thing I quite liked is the fact I'd almost forgotten what Darren Young could do.
Yeah, he's all right. He's good. Darren Young. I think the problem with him though is that he's always in his career. He's always lived off other people's coattails. I don't think he's the star of primetime players. I think that's Titus O'Neil, personally.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the same was with the Nexus. He was the guy who was just kind of there, you know.
Cena?
Yeah, everyone calls him Black Cena, doesn't they? Because he looks surprisingly like Cena, doesn't he? Really, which is quite strange.
Yeah.
I wonder if him and Cena had a baby, what they would look like. We'd get a rock-flavoured Cena, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's about it.
I don't want to imagine that. That'd be bad. Anyway, yeah, I thought this match was good, but I don't know. They seem to want to use O'Neil in these sort of comedy segments. I see more out of Titus O'Neil.
I'd hope to see more out of Titus O'Neil.
Yeah, I don't want him like this is sort of the sort of thing that Talia was doing with her farting gimmick for a while. I really hope that this is just a one-off. I'm fine if it was just a one-off thing and they don't go back to it next week. But if he comes in next week and he's throwing up over people again, then this is like I think he's got like real sort of star potential, Titus O'Neil. But I don't.
Didn't like WWE like years ago actually chase for a guy who could puke on demand?
Yeah, that was Darren Dostov.
And they got
but
rid
he's paralysed now.
Mm.
He took a move really badly. He's regained some sort of feeling, but he's still in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
But he actually, Darren Drozdov
they
actually
threw it. They got rid of him. It's just like, yeah, we want a guy who could puke on demand, and it's like, then he just didn't stick around for too long. They were like, actually, we don't really want to do the puke thing anymore.
Yeah, he just came back as the Droz. And he does some stuff for WWE.com every now and then, but like he kind of just pops up. I don't know if he's still with the company. I don't think he is, but yeah, he took a really bad bump. And if you actually want to see more of actually him, there's a documentary that goes into a lot about Jake Roberts. It's Beyond the Mat. He's actually in that.
That's awesome.
He's actually in that. He's having an interview with Vince McMahon. So yeah, that's the same guy. He was known as Puke during that time because he could puke on people, which was very creative. But anyway, yeah. O'Neil, I hope he's not the new Puke, but we don't know, really. That was the main event anyway. Primetime Players against Real Americans. That was the last match.
Yeah, that was really odd.
Yeah.
But then I guess when you're going to have about half an hour of like the Authority and Cena Orton.
Yeah, this is what I made a note about as well. We had a very long contract signing segment with Orton and Cena. Took up a really long chunk at the end of the show.
It was solid.
Sorry, what?
It was a solid one. I mean, as far as contract signings go, it was a good one.
It was okay. It wasn't definitely not the worst one I've seen. I mean,
we've never touched on this, and I don't think you and me have ever mentioned it outside of doing like this Let's Talk Wrestling.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Triple H is using King of Kings.
Well, as his sort of business entrance, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he used to do that when he would come out for promos, didn't he? And for his matches, he'd use his usual entrance music. I love the King of Kings.
I prefer the King of Kings song.
I could see why he wouldn't come out to that though, but I do like King of Kings.
Yeah,
I do like that song. But yeah, in this promo, like Cena seemed to be smoking a bit of pot again. He was like, Orton's not living to his full potential. I think being an 11-time world champion is pretty good.
Yeah, it's just like you haven't done your potential. Yeah, I'd say he has.
So I don't know what pot he was smoking in regards.
It's just like he hasn't lived to his potential. Well, he spent half of 2008 kicking your ass.
Exactly.
But then Cena spent half of 2008 kicking Orton's ass. So
yeah, the year that was Cena Orton. But yeah, this was it was okay. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't the best contract signing I've ever seen, but that it did its point. And they had their little opinions that they feuded with, and Cena thinks that he was saying along the lines that he earned his title. The WWE Championship was given to Randy Orton. He seems to forget the fact that he didn't even earn his title shot against Del Rio. He just got that as soon as coming back.
It's just like, I'm making a return. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, yeah, you can go against Del Rio.
I mean, it's not... I mean, maybe I'm just nitpicking here, but I just thought that was very odd that he just seemed to be, you've been given everything, and it's like, you're John Cena. Come on, guys.
If there's one person who has been given everything, it's you.
I mean, he's got a great work ethic, and, when he said that he was the first to get there and the last to leave, yeah, he probably is. He probably takes great pride in his work and everything like that, but to say that he hasn't, that he's earned everything that he's got, I don't think so. He's been blessed, I think.
That's it.
So, right, that was the end of the show, really. I don't think that ending segment did anything to kind of...
You can't have a contract signing without a scrap.
Yeah, they had a scrap, didn't they?
And it did the whole thing. It's like, oh, look, there's a chair, there's a ladder, there's a table, hey. And then obviously, you had to have... Well, we had Orton last week, so I guess we're going to have Cena this week. Look at me, 2 titles.
That's exactly it, yeah. They have to even it out before the big match, don't they? And since they're trying to build this up as a huge thing, I just don't think this promo did anything to change the haters of John Cena or Orton to change their mind about this particular match.
I did quite like the fact that Randy Orton actually mentioned on that.
What's that?
About the people that hate Cena.
Yeah.
That was actually like, I like this.
Do you know why they hate them? And that's why I think he's getting a little bit better every now and then. When he looks like he's sort of slightly deviating away from the road that he's got. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm trying to look too hard. But no, I like that. I like the little things he's coming out with every now and then. But it's certainly not these. I mean, I remember some absolutely god awful Orton promos where I would fall absolutely dead asleep, and I just wouldn't care. This is when he was on SmackDown all the time. If you remember that, he was coming out with some horrific promos. But yeah, that was your show in all. I didn't think it was great. There were some good matches. It sort of summed up maybe WWE as a whole because, they seem to have things that aren't working, but they've got a few things working for them. They've got the tag team division. They've got Shield. There is some good matches to be found here. So worth watching. I would think there's stuff to see here, but it's not the best Raw I've ever seen. It's a mid-month Raw. That's probably the best way to say, isn't it? Really.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so next week is the Slammies. So I mean that should be a little bit interesting at least.
Actually, this is the one thing I'm finding quite funny. I have the WWE app. I won't as much as I hate to admit it. I do.
Yeah.
Granted, I did have it downloaded before it got jammed down my throat every week.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh yeah, you can vote for your Slammies on the WWE app. Do you know what the worst thing is? I'm even doing it now. If I go to the WWE app, I go to it's like breaking news.
Yeah.
This just almost feels like an episode of Raw right now. Like, you go to the WWE app, you select Raw. But it's like, if I try and vote for the Slammies, it's like the app redirects me to how to download the app. I was like,
what?
Yeah, I can't. That's it.
That's so crazy.
Like, there you go, Slammy Awards.
Downloading the app once isn't enough, Matt. You need to
That's
download it.
And then it's I'm on Raw News, and then it's like right at the bottom, get the WWE app. It's like, I'm so confused. Like, unless it's literally going to be live, and they're going to be sort of 5 minutes before each one goes up.
I imagine that's probably what they will do.
Oh, fucking hell.
We've got to remember, sometimes the general wrestling fan populace are a little bit stupid. I hate to say it, because last year they voted John Cena had the Superstar of the Year when CM Punk had been champion the whole entire year. It's just because he's heel, that's why they didn't vote for him.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, but, regardless.
Actually, saying that, there is that picture of Punk's with the doll.
All in all, next week should be at least interesting. We're going to have a lot to talk about next week, which is going to be good. It wasn't that eventful, this Raw. There was a few talking points. Steadily kind of building towards. It's sort of like a unique card kind of building up. We've got a few really disjointed handicap matches, and then we've got obviously the unification title match, and it's just starting to build up the card a good few weeks before the show, because they were doing this the last couple of pay-per-views where the week before the show there's one match on the card, and they just rush to get all these ones on the card.
Oh, that's it. We've got to fill it. It's like, No, we don't.
Okay, so Raw's done. We're going to now speak in real great detail about if you were to give us a 20-minute time slot each week, and it was just given to the Divas, how would we rebuild the Divas over a 2-year plan to get them to some semblance of quality again? Because I think actually it would take longer than 2 years to kind of get back to where they are.
Episode 1: car containing all the Divas drives off cliff.
No, we'll be realistic now, Matt. We'll be realistic, okay?
Oh, okay.
Personally, the things that I would go along with, you've got to look at the problems that are in the Divas division at the moment. You've got a lot of very untrained female wrestlers on the card. And you've got the ones that are trained are stuck in rivalries revolving the untrained divas. So the first thing that I would do along those lines is that I would take the ones that you see as no-hopers and turn them immediately into managers. That way you're slimming down your roster, you're getting rid of a lot of the chaff, because at the moment they're putting a lot of matches in with these divas with no quality, and it's just making the entire division look bad. If they're not going to be good, they're not going to be good. I wouldn't put them in the ring. I mean, are you... I mean, I think there's quite a lack of.
I'd agree with that. I'd leave the Funkadactyls to be dancers. I'd definitely give Oksana back to someone. Yeah. But she can't go to Cesaro because they completely wrote it off. But I don't know. Maybe you did it as like, oh, I'm so sorry, and like, forgive me for like a love interest, you know.
Yeah.
As a way, just getting Oksana out of it.
They've got such a bloated roster. There's plenty of people they could give a manager to. To try and boost. I mean, I think the last they did Ted DiBiase and Maurice were like paired up together, but then that I don't think that was booked well. But yeah, I think that they need to take a lot of them out. Oksana is one of them. I think Eva Marie is. I don't think there's anything there to her. I think you take her out. She's obviously a good-looking girl. You pair her up with a guy.
Target of the meme universe, just horrific.
But they've made her the target of it because she's not very good, and they haven't exactly tried to hide.
Just the thing I find quite funny is the fact that JoJo hasn't actually come under any flack at all. I don't think I've seen a single meme that's picking on JoJo.
I think it's because she's quite young, isn't it? Really, that Eva Marie is old enough to have learned these skills in the ring. I don't know why they hired JoJo. Really, she's very, very young. I mean, their whole excuse for not bringing Paige up was because she was too young, but Paige is older than JoJo, so I don't know what to say about that. But
but come on. Oh, it's Total Divas! Hey! Actually, there we go. If I was put in charge of the Divas division, I'd cancel Total Divas.
I wouldn't. You're going to kill me for this.
Okay,
I would keep Total
it.
Divas. The reason being, right, is that you can have these managers doing Total Divas. That's fine. Anyone that watches Total Divas, they don't do it because these girls are good wrestlers. They do it because they're in the wrestling industry. I would keep Total Divas personally.
Fine.
Because it actually brings a demographic over from what you wouldn't normally have. But I wouldn't fill it. I would fill it with the managers, the girls that aren't really into the wrestling side of it, you know. So you keep
awesome. So we'll put Vicky Guerrero on it.
I also wouldn't make it a focus of Raw. I don't think they should ever. I think they should maybe advertise Total Divas, but I don't think they should make it into any sort of rivalries. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But so yeah. I mean, we differ on that. That's fine. But the next thing that I would do is I would pick out 4 girls that you think are going to be your basically your girls that are going to be fighting for the title for the next 2 years. I would, if I was on the roster now, I would pick AJ Lee. I would pick Natalia, and I would bring up Emma and Paige from Developmental.
Okay, I was about to say, would you not bring anyone out of NXT?
No, I would bring up Emma and Paige from Developmental, because while you're transitioning these girls out of the ring into more manager roles, they can come in really hot and defeat those girls, and really come in as destroyers.
Yeah, as a way of sort of putting the other ones sort of on the bench, on the shelf as managers. Yeah,
the reason why I pick those 2 is because they've had very good matches together in NXT that you could copy and paste on Raw that the majority of WWE fans haven't seen before. Yes. And they are good 15-minute matches, well, not 15 minute, about 10-minute matches that are very high quality. That would fill up a really good time slot on Raw. and build up that thing. So I personally would have Natalya, I would have AJ Lee, I would have Paige and Emma. You pick either Paige or Emma to go heel. That way you've got two faces and you've got two heels. Yeah.
Paige would be a heel.
So yeah, that's what I would do.
So you'd basically write off pretty much the entire women's division.
I'm not writing them off. I think that you need to pick at least, well, not at least, I think at most 4 divas that you're going to focus on. You can have other matches with the other ones as long as they're trained and they can go. But I think if you try and give, what they do is that they try and give like a mini push to too many of these divas, and then they kind of take
there is one diva in NXT, but I wouldn't bring her up. Not yet, at least.
Yeah,
So
I mean, this is just a 2-year
if we're talking in a 2-year thing, maybe at the end, but come the end of the 2 years, Charlotte.
Yeah, I've heard good things about her. Yeah,
daughter of Ric Flair.
Yeah, she did recently.
Granted, I think she's still trying to fight out of the shadow, because literally the moment she shows her face on NXT, all you hear is "woo." It's just like, oh no.
Yeah.
So that's that must be really difficult to sort of try and get yourself in the industry, and it's literally just like, well, I'm not my dad, okay.
Yeah. That can work to your advantage, and it can work against it, because man, Ric Flair is pretty big shoes to fill. I mean, she won't get the brunt of that, because I'm not sexist, but because she's not male, people are going to be a little bit more lax on her. She's not going to win world championships or anything like that. But yeah, no, I agree. I think she should spend more time in developmental. She's just recently undergone a heel turn, so learn more stuff under there. But personally, they're the 4 that I would put stock in. Obviously you got AJ Lee as your champion. Let's just take that as precedence. You pick one of your faces to build up and go against her, and you make that a very long-term rivalry. They may not face each other straight away, but you build up to this very aggressive, very visceral. I think you need one very good groundbreaking match to put them back on the map.
I don't think Emma could do aggressive face.
That's why I'm saying it'd probably be Natalya against AJ. They're your 2 main. You already know they can go, sort of thing.
Yeah.
They're already established. But what I think is that you need one really good match. If the girls are up for it and they get the creative time and freedom to be able to do it, I'd give them a hardcore match. Now, hear me out, right? You don't have to have blood and gore. You don't even have to have chair shots across the face. You don't have to have that or anything like that. You can do a hardcore match, relatively tame, but because it's never been done by a women's division before, you can do a very safe match that doesn't involve much heavy bumping. That can come off very brutal and can really get a crowd into it. You need an attraction for a women's title match to put them back on the map again. I mean, I don't think
you couldn't get them back on track. We're literally just like, it's a singles match again.
You need an attraction with it. You need to have. I'm not saying a Hell in a Cell match or anything, or a cage match, or man, if they want to go that far, then that's fine.
Why not a cage match?
I look at Natalya and I look at AJ Lee. I see 2 girls that would be willing to do that.
Yeah. The thing is, I'd take your hardcore, and I'd actually probably say cage match, because at least then it's still a singles match, but there is the ability of being a bit creative with the cage.
It's very easy to bump on that cage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you can throw someone's face into it and it doesn't look that bad. Like, well, you won't be taking it that bad. You basically bounce off the steel. You come back, it looks like a horrendous bump and everything like that. And AJ's quite bendy, so you could probably shove her into the steel, make it look really bad, but it's not actually that bad. So it's not that taxing on their body. I mean, we're not looking to try and injure these girls or fucking anything like that. But you need an attraction to put them back on the map. You need a reason. You need to have a blood feud that ends in a brutal match for these girls to mean something again. Because one original match isn't going to do it. And then once you've got that, then maybe you give someone new a chance. Like, pick whoever wins that match and have a new challenger come on. Let's say Natalya wins the title and then Paige goes for it, and then you need to start building towards another big rivalry that ends. You don't maybe have to do another match like that, but I think you need to have more attraction matches along those lines. And personally, what I'd do is I'd get rid of Divas tag matches.
Yeah.
I think you need to start putting stock in one-on-one matches again. And you need to start giving these girls time. And I think you need to send 1 or 2 of them. I think Natalya maybe needs to go and do some promo work. I don't think she's that great with her promos. Not nearly as good as AJ, of course. I think Paige is okay. I don't mind her so much. I've seen some of her promos. But yeah, take these girls that you think that need to do the work before you put them up. give them a bit of promo work. Give them a bit of time. You've got a brand new development station built that costs millions and millions of dollars. Send them there to get some promo work done to make sure when they come up they can sell these feuds. And that way you've got trained good wrestlers that can deliver good matches with good promos. That's my 2-year kind of plan, that you need to stick with those 4 girls for those 2 years. Afterwards, then you can look about who you build up from there, or who you want to keep in, or maybe you have people that want to leave the company or anything like. You don't know what's going to happen really, but is there anything that you'd want to add on to that 2-year plan, or anything along those lines? Or?
No, I can kind of understand where you're coming from. Spectacle matches are always a big way of getting sort of adding a bit more weight to a match, and rather than it being, it's just a piss break, just give it about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's treated in that way. I think it's actually getting to that point now where the producers and all that of WWE are literally just we just have a Divas match. Why? Because the crowd like to piss.
Yeah, that's essentially it.
And I don't think the production team is almost helping them.
No, it's. I tell you what, some of the matches are put in those situations for a reason. They're not the opening segment on the show. They're always the middle segment. Yeah, I agree with you. I think you need to give, once you've done that for these girls, you need to give them the odd Raw main event. I think you do. You look at the likes of Lita and Trish Stratus when they're in. They were no stranger to having the odd main event every now and then on Raw. They main evented Raw every not all the time. Maybe they did it once every 8 months or whatever. But they still did it. They still had the ability to sell that.
If they weren't main event, then a lot of the time they were still the match before.
Yeah. But, they could do a match of that quality. You go back and you look... Hell, I watched a match between Paige against Emma for the NXT Women's Championship. I went back and watched that. Brilliant match. It reminded me a lot of that Trish Stratus Lita match.
There we go.
That's the style of wrestling that they need to go back to with that. They need to have a clear plan, because at the moment they're shooting from the hip too much, and they're pulling and they're pushing and then pulling back, and then they don't really know.
There's one thing. It's this is completely off the 2-year plan thing. But have you seen who's presenting Diva of the Year at
No,
the
I haven't actually. Who's that?
Eve.
As in Eve Torres?
As in Eve Torres.
Oh, okay. Don't see a problem with that.
Work back gimmick?
I don't know. She's not one of those. She's not one of those names I'd want to see back.
I think if they turned around and said Mickie James is the one that's announcing here, I'd much rather see Mickie return to try and bring something back to the division.
Mickie was a better wrestler than Eve. I'm going to say that.
I think it's
Eve wasn't bad though.
We've spoken before. She was at one point, and then she sort of improved with a bit more.
She actually kind of she got decent. Literally the months as she was leaving the company.
That's it. I'm leaving soon, but I'm improving.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think you and me were talking about this, that we'd happily watch a Mickie AJ match.
Yeah, we would. I'd like that. I'm not saying that you can't have these people come back every now and then challenge for the title, or maybe if they want to push stock in Mickie James again, they can. I don't know if that's going to happen. I doubt it actually. But that's a match I'd be interested in. Yeah, I definitely. To be interested in seeing that, as long as they don't just do it randomly on Raw, they'd have to build up to a pay-per-view for that, obviously.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just next Raw.
Yeah, I think though that we have to take these returns when you get these news that like the likes of Eve Torres and Mickie James are like, oh they visited the Performance Center, or they're down at NXT, or they're backstage at Raw. You have to take them with a bit of a pinch of salt, because there's a lot of that happening recently.
Oh yeah,
I don't think that.
No DQ is actually quite bad for it. I love reading no DQ. Like I sort of look on them quite a lot.
Yeah,
but it's literally just like so and so was backstage, and it's just literally just like you're just fishing, but just like someone come up with a speculation.
Yeah.
It's like they were there. They must be coming back.
Yeah, you need to take it with a pinch of salt, because they've got a bloated roster as it is, really, haven't they? Unless you're going to be huge box office, like I'd say Brock Lesnar. I don't see them paying out a lot of money to get these old people
Apparently
back.
Batista was backstage recently, but don't go thinking he'll be back.
He's making too much money doing his movies now. Less taxing on his body. And he peaked so late in his career anyway, Batista, that if he were to come back, it's going to be like a one-time deal because, I mean, he's while he's physically imposing, I mean, he peaked when he was about 40. You have to remember that.
That's it.
So, you know, he was getting on a bit by the time that he started really getting into a full-time schedule. But yeah, you take those with a pinch of salt anyway. But yeah, I think that around about wraps us up for this week. I think we've gone through quite a lot of stuff. We've outlined our 2-year plan. Leave a comment if you've got anything that you want to add to what we said about Raw. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can catch us also on Podbean. We have the full audio of the episode there. So you don't have to catch it just on YouTube. If you want to watch the audio on your phone, you can watch it there, and it's streamed straight to your phone, Matt. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, you basically go onto it, there's a little button there that says Audio MP3, you click that and it streams to your phone, doesn't even save it, so you don't have to worry about having enough space on your phones.
We don't have to eat up your memory.
Yeah, exactly. Num num num. We are memory free here. I've already forgotten what we've done on the episode now.
That's it.
Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. Yeah, if you're on YouTube you are watching, listening, and we'll catch you again next week.
Until then.
Bye.
Bye.